Let me welcome Dr. Pankaj Mittal, Secretary General, Association of Indian Universities. Welcome, Dr. Mittal. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And thanks to APAC News Network for inviting me here, especially Akash, who has been in touch constantly. Thanks a lot for inviting me here. The topic of the webinar, as mentioned by Mr. Naveen Mittal also, it's very, very timely that higher EdTech innovation conclave we are holding. And today's topic which was given to us, that what is the role of the government in furthering the sort of future of education, how to promote future of education in a fast forward mode. So what is the role of the government? So very, very important topic. So thanks for inviting me. And when we talk of the role of the government in this, first of all, we should talk about NEP, because NEP is an instrument which has been issued by the government shortly, just recently, for sort of changing the landscape of higher education in India. I do remember that in 1905, Einstein was there, so he gave a newspaper question paper to all his students. And when the teaching assistant saw the question paper, he said, "Sir, to the same set of students, you gave the same questions last year also. Is it a mistake that you are giving the same question paper?" He said, "The questions are the same, but the answers are different." And the reason being that in 1905, Einstein brought out four papers on relativity, on E is equal to mc square, on Brownian motion, on photoelectric effect. And those four papers changed the very paradigm of physics education, and the answers were totally different in 1904 and 1905. So he wanted to see the impact of those papers on the minds of the students. So similarly, the questions are the same: who to teach, what to teach, how to teach, where to teach, why to teach. But the answers after the NEP are totally different. And the answers are sort of, there's a lot of innovation attached to the answers, there is a lot of technology attached to the answers, there's a lot of experience which we got from COVID, which is attached to these answers. So what will be the role of the government? I was just thinking loud when Mr. Naveen Mittal was speaking, and I just thought of 10 points where the government can be speaking, because of course, as he was also mentioning, the future is blended education. We were really not prepared for online education when the COVID stuck, but in no time, I must appreciate our teachers. In no time, they sort of switched over to online education, and now it is also visible that the future is neither face to face, future is neither online, future is blended mode of education. But what the government of India ought to be doing, or what the government of India is doing to see the future of education in a fast forward mode. And I'll also refer to one book which is by, I just have this here, Anthony Seldon. This is a book by Anthony Seldon. The name is The Fourth Education Revolution. So what is the fourth education revolution? Like the fourth industrial revolution, what will be the fourth education revolution? It will be basically uh, based on the artificial intelligence. I mean, artificial intelligence will play a lot of role in how we teach, and how our universities are there in future. There will be universities sort of in physical space, in brick and mortar, but there will also be universities in the cloud. There will be teachers who are teaching in the classrooms, but there will also be freelancers who will be teaching on the cloud, maybe the holograms of the teachers also. So the future, based on the technology, based on the artificial intelligence, based on the new innovations, the future of education is entirely going to change. And the way we see the universities today, like the way we used to see the communication, say 20, 30 years back, and the way the communication is today is totally different. At that time, emails were not there. We were depending on surface mail. That time only landlines were there, but there were no e-mobiles. But similarly, the way the communication has changed, similarly the higher education space will change entirely. I mean, total change in environmental higher education space will be there in the future. So what the government should be doing to handle this change, which is again in a fast forward mode. First and foremost thing which the government has to do is infrastructure. When we talk of infrastructure, again, when COVID struck, we all saw the digital divide which the country was facing. There was a lot of digital divide in terms of availability of, say, devices or the internet connectivity, and if the connectivity was there with regard to bandwidth. So infrastructure is a space where the government will be investing. They are investing, of course, but I feel now the priorities will change. Instead of investing more on brick and mortar, the government will be investing more on the technology, on the networking, on the communication. So first thing which the government ought to be doing is investing in infrastructure, and that too an infrastructure which is state of an art infrastructure in terms of technology. We cannot be saddled with the sort of old systems and old way of teaching, learning, everything. So the infrastructure has to be a state of the art infrastructure. Second is, again, when the COVID struck, there was an issue with regard to capacity building of faculty, that how to do the capacity building of faculty, not only in terms of using the uh, internet and online platforms for online teaching, but also for sort of changing the way they teach. So a lot of capacity building of the faculty is required, which is very, very important, because unless the capacity building of the faculty is there, unless they are trained to teach, whether face to face or online, in a manner which arouses curiosity, critical thinking, problem solving, application oriented, I mean, gone are the days of the rote learning. So the faculty training and the capacity building of not only the faculty but also the students, both is required to teach and learn online. That was the second thing. Third is curriculum. Our curriculum, I mean, if you think of what lies in the future, what type of future jobs will be there. The future jobs will be in AI, in IoT, in robotics, in 3D printing, in say augmented reality. So like this, the future maybe in cryptocurrency, blockchains. So the future is totally different than what we are teaching our students today. So the curriculum has to be changed in such a manner so that our students are prepared for the future. So the government has to take a lead in changing the future, changing the curriculum, and that has already been taken. For example, UGC has laid down many curriculums which are based on outcome based, like learning outcome based curriculum framework has been prepared by UGC for the undergraduate subjects. For postgraduate, they are also making. But then the curriculum is something which is very dynamic. Even if you make curriculum today, earlier it was 3 years, 5 years. Today it is 6 months, 1 year. Everything is changing. So it has to be changing very fast. So curriculum is the third thing. Fourth is the once the curriculum is there, we need good quality course content. Now again, the course content in every university, we cannot be having the best features. So the alternative which the government thought of was a platform like Swayam, which is a India MOOCs platform, in which the best teachers of the country are giving lectures, and those lectures are or maybe not only lectures, they are running the full MOOCs courses, and those MOOCs courses can be taken by the students who is studying in any university of the country. So now Director IIT Gandhinagar is here. So now we normally say to our students that if you did not get admission in IIT, don't worry. The IIT professor will come to your home to teach you at your convenient time on your laptop, because most of the lectures of the IIT professors are on net. There is an NPTEL program is there, EPG Pathshala is there, Swayam is there. So there is a lot of resources available to the students that from where to study, and the role of the government would be to enrich those resources further. They are already doing it, but they have to enrich it further, so that even, I mean, when we were talking about digital divide, when we were talking about a lot of disparity in the country based on the quality of education. I mean, there are institutions who are the best institutions, and there are institutions which are really not worthy of being called an institution. So a student who is studying in any of the institutions can have access to the best higher education. So that is something which the government is wanting to do, and the government is doing, but then we need further lot of work is to be done in that area. Similarly, pedagogy so far in Indian higher education systems is rote learning. So the teachers are teaching, I mean, they're taking the book in the class, and then they are teaching from the book or the notes they have prepared. But the future is blended, not exactly blended. The blended, of course, is there, but the future is also flipped classroom model, in which the students will be studying at home, and then in the class there will be only discussions, analysis, rationalization, group discussions. So that type of a flipped classroom model has to be adopted. Again, the teachers have to be trained not only for doing how to do flipped classroom model teaching, but also the type of e-content which will be required to the students before the class begins, so that they can go read it through that and then come to the class and do the discussion. So that is the pedagogy. Sixth would be the flexibility, the type of flexibility. So Indian system was mostly considered as a rigid system in which flexibility was not there. But now the NEP calls for a lot of flexibility. There is a lot of flexibility introduced in the recommendations of the NEP, and the biggest and most innovative concept is of ABC, that is Academic Bank of Credit. In the Academic Bank of Credit, the students will be getting the liberty of choosing a university, choosing a course, choosing a program which they want to do, and choosing the speed with which they want to do. So, I mean, if you're doing a BA program, it's not that you are stuck to a single university. You can do various courses or various papers of a BA program from multiple universities. So, even if you're enrolled in, say, Meerut University, you can do courses from JNU, you can do courses from Delhi University, you can do courses from Hyderabad University, anywhere you can do. So, this type of flexibility has been incorporated. Again, the government is establishing APC, the work is going on, the regulations are on the UGC website. So, a lot of flexibility in terms of the years of the programs, in terms of multiple entry and exit, in terms of uh, autonomy to the institution. So, a lot of flexibility has been added in the national education policy, and for which the government is already working a lot, and the universities are also trying to use the flexibility which has been given to them. Now, the seventh would be assessment and evaluation. So far, we have been depending upon the 3R examination, which is held at the end of the semester. And in the COVID, you saw that how difficult it was to handle that 3R examination also. So the government is now insisting upon continuous assessment and evaluation throughout the semester based on multiple parameters. It could be projects, it could be assignments, it could be group discussions, it could be quizzes, it could be activities. I mean, multiple ways of assessing a student are there. So why should we depend upon only a 3R examination at the end of the semester? So the again, the UGC regulations are there on assessment and evaluation. They have given the guidelines that how you can assess and evaluate. It is for the governments to adopt, but then we do need to change our assessment and evaluation methods. Ninth is the funding. Funding, of course, funding is very, very important, and the government has committed to 6% of GDP to education in the NEP, and we hope that this time it comes true. And the biggest thing was National Research Foundation, and the funding to National Research Foundation is immense, and I feel that will really make a mark in the research space of the country. So funding is important not only for infrastructure but for research, for teaching, learning, for everything. Funding is very, very important. So that is there. And lastly, internationalization. Again, we know that out of India, only around 46,000 students. Coming to India is only 46,000 students. International students are coming to India, but going out of India is around 8 to 10 lakh students. So there's a large disparity. So the government again is working a lot on creating a situation so that the foreign students can come and stay in India. So we are saying study in India, stay in India. That type of a campaign is going on, and we are trying to increase the number of foreign students to India. We are trying to increase international collaborations, and in international collaborations, AIU is also taking a lot of activities are being done. Like for example, we are having an AIU collaboration portal in which every Indian university will indicate that what are they good at, 4, 5, 6 facilities or the departments or the programs which they are good at, for which they are seeking collaboration. Because foreign universities, they know Indian universities by way of ranking or NAC score, means NAC rating. But for a particular subject which university is good, they don't come to know. So we are making AIU collaboration portal from which they'll come to know that in a particular subject, say for quantum physics, if they put quantum physics on AIU portal, they'll find out the list of the universities which are really good in quantum physics so that they can easily collaborate. And similarly, many of our universities are very good in internationalization, but there are many who are intending to do internationalization, but they don't know how to go about it, whom to talk to, which university to collaborate with, how to approach the university. So we are trying to build a Indian network of international higher educators. So far, our country does not have such a network. Most of the foreign countries have this, but India does not have. So from AIU side, we are trying to build a network of international educators in which a lot of resource sharing will be there, experience share will be there, hand holding will be there, so that the universities who want to do internationalization, they know how to go about it. And then after some time, they can guide others also. So this type of work is being done. And for blended education also, I mean, the government is doing a lot in terms of say online education. The regulations were there, and the complete online programs are now possible through I mean till now it was only online courses, but now complete online programs are possible and the government regulations are already there. So I feel that the government is doing a lot in promoting the future of education. The government is vigilant. The government knows what is to be done. The NEP is a proof of that. The only thing is that we have to implement in letter and spirit. And implementation in letter and spirit does not depend upon the government only. It also depends upon the universities, higher education institutions, the vice chancellors, the universities, the colleges. So everybody has to join hands and everybody has to implement all these things passionately, because the future is ours. I mean, if we really implement all the recommendations of NEP, the much said phrase that India will become a Vishwaguru, that will not be far off. But then for that, all of us have to work passionately. So with this, I would like to end my talk, and I will again thank APAC News Network for inviting me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pankaj Mittal, Secretary General, Association of Indian Universities, for sharing your thoughts with us.